So on the provider side, for us, for our purposes, nature centers, zoos, any location or organization that wants to propose challenges can. It's really just a matter of coming up with a good idea, maybe looking at the resources that you already have and seeing how you can turn that into a challenge. We can help with that. And then you would submit your challenge information through the Survey 123 form that we're going to provide later. We'll go over a timeline at the end of the presentation. You submit that challenge, the links that we need to your site and your information, as well as any supplemental materials that participants would need, like maybe it's a scavenger hunt activity and they need to download that PDF of the card that they're going to use, those can be uploaded then as well. Then the challenge is reviewed and it appears on the map or the list on the website. After the challenge is up, you have the responsibility of promoting the challenge in your own social media, and we'll promote Nature Challenge in general. And then if you have information pages on your own websites, you'll just link back to Nature Challenge and use the hashtag Texas Nature Challenge. When it comes to communication afterwards or once challenges are live, we'll be keeping track of the analytics or things that need to be edited as we go. So we'll keep open and active communication with all partners that have current and active challenges. And then it's a learning experience. This is designed to be edited or changed whenever we need to. It's a very flexible system. So if you do recognize something that needs to be edited or updated or changed in some way, you can always just shoot me an email and we can edit that pretty quickly. A little bit about the ArcGIS and Survey 123 platform. Has anybody used this system before? So it's really kind of cool. Normally you would have to pay a pretty large amount of money to be able to access the Survey 123 and ArcGIS. Luckily, you're able to use through this system the Texas A&M Forest Service license. We're making that available to this system. So the Survey 123 is just a smart survey system that allows us to track and collect information that's geospatial. So if you have a challenge that you'd like to propose that is on a specific location or at an even very specific coordinate point, if you were to use the mobile survey on your phone, it's just an app that you download. You can input the challenge information and then drop a pin to that exact location of where that challenge is. And then it will feed that into the system and onto the map so that when people are looking for challenges, they can map directly to that exact point. You can also just provide an address or provide multiple points. So how it works for the public side, they're going to visit this Nature Challenge website to find challenges. They can filter and sort through things to suit their needs. So if I'm a mother of young children and I need some early childhood challenges, I can filter the map and find challenges near me or virtual challenges or things that can be done anywhere. And then click those challenges for more information. When I click the Learn More button, it'll take me to either the website of the challenge provider for more information, or it'll provide the resources that I need to download to participate. The next step is then completing the challenge. So either visiting the site, doing the worksheet, doing the activity online, whatever it might be, and then posting your challenges and your creations to social media using that same hashtag, Texas Nature Challenge. And the public also has the opportunity then to earn badges by submitting challenge progress reports. Those are just additional surveys that they fill out that lets us know what challenges they've completed, and then they can upload proof, either a picture or something they've created as their completion metric for that challenge. Once that's reviewed, then they get sent in their email these virtual badges that they can collect. So this is just a mock-up of what the site is going to look like. It's not going to exactly be this, but this is a pretty good visual representation for what we're working with. The map itself will not look exactly like this. It'll be a real map, geospatially, kind of like looking at Google Maps. You'll be able to zoom in and zoom out and look for things wherever you'd like. You can filter, you can sort, and then the other function this has is the social media toolkits that are provided by Texan by Nature. And we'll go into that in just a minute, but so the toolkits themselves, that's what kind of started this whole reboot of Texas Nature Challenge. Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so early in the summer, Texan by Nature, who we work with a lot with TCIN, was approached by a couple ISDs asking for help on how they could encourage the families in their school districts to spend more time outside. So Texan by Nature contacted us and asked, like, do we have ideas? What could we do? And we came up with this idea of the social media toolkit. So what this is that we're working together to create a few posts each month, highlighting our partners, highlighting different activities that people can do outdoors, and then that gets sent out to every ISD in the state every month. And then the ISD has all of the text and all of the graphics that they would need to promote on their social media, our partners, and the sorts of things that we're doing. And so during these discussions, you know, it was brought up, well, wouldn't it be great if we could do some sort of challenge? And I went, yes. And so I brought in JC of the Nature Challenge. And so the three organizations started working together back in June on this relaunch of the Texas Nature Challenge. So the really great thing is this is a great tool to really promote all of your projects. And when we first started with the social media toolkit, all of you probably got an email from me with a Google form asking you to fill it out and put in some of your events. But the way it was set up is it was a one-time thing, and you would have to fill out the form new every time. Well, we took the feedback and came up with this next step. So this is kind of step 2, where the process that JC is describing will mean that it just lives on the site and you won't need to re-enter every time. So
that becomes editable and live into the future, making it a lot easier on you guys so that you don't have to search for that email and that link to the Google form every single time you want to put something on the toolkit every month. So there are 3 main types of challenges, and there will probably be more going into the future, but this is what we're starting with. We have our place-based challenges. Those are the location-specific ones. So if I'm a nature center or a park or a zoo or a city park and I want, or even a state park, and I want a specific challenge at this location with an address or a GIS point, that's the category that would fall into. We also have at-home and virtual-friendly challenges, so things that don't require travel and can be done from the safety of your own space or online. And then we have thematic challenges that are designed to get people outdoors, but they could do the challenge from anywhere. So an example would be learning about forests. They can do that in any state forest or in their local urban green space forest or something like that. It's related to a theme, a topic, or some kind of overarching event, maybe like Arbor Day would be a thematic challenge. So we'd have multiple that are related to that subset. So this means for you guys that you really do get to be creative in your ideas for challenges. There's no limitations. They can be anything we want to be, and it really helps if they are already drawing from things that we have. So maybe things that we created over COVID, new virtual resources, new activities, new programs. You don't have to create anything new to have your challenge put on this site. It's just a matter of translating what you are already doing, a program that you already have, into a challenge setting. So some examples might be, actually, Sarah, do you want to go into this one? You give that spiel about the trash cleanup pretty well.
Yeah, so, you know, JC, Christy with Texan by Nature, and I, we're kind of brainstorming some ideas to kind of give you guys different kinds of different types of challenges. And we came up with 4 that are pretty broad, but might help spur some ideas. And of course, once we finish this presentation, we can always help you guys brainstorm with any ideas that you guys have too. But the first one is more of a theme-based idea. And this came up, actually we did this in Coastal Bend. The solid waste department really wanted to do Nature Challenge a few years ago and couldn't really figure out what to do because they don't have a site, but they're the solid waste department. And they came up with this really creative idea of doing a trash cleanup. And so the Nature Challenge was when you go to your park, pick up 5 pieces of trash and put them in the correct trash bin, as opposed to letting them be out as litter. And then, so that's one that can be completed anywhere. It doesn't need to be at a specific park. And so that's one that could translate all the way across the state. So organizations that maybe you don't reach, you know, people in the Rio Grande Valley, they could still be participating in some of your challenges if you have something like that. Another one that is thematic is this Healthy Trees, Healthy Lives. So practicing mindfulness near trees for 5 minutes is one idea. We also really wanted to make sure we weren't being a direct competition with the City Nature Challenge. And so really what we're encouraging our cities to do that are participating in the City Nature Challenge is to put it up as the challenge for that weekend. So in the Texas Nature Challenge, everyone's challenge for that weekend is going to be to go out and do INAT and get as many species as we can, instead of trying to have the two compete against each other. And lastly, an idea of an at-home challenge is the pollinator garden. So, if you're, Dustin, I could see where you guys, might want to do something where you're getting people to plant something at home. So yeah, stuff like that. Those are a few ideas. Some other ideas that have come up at different calls so far today has been with the Brit, maybe doing something with their story walk and that people can participate in. Another idea was with Baylor having the idea of doing a walk along the Brazos River downtown. Another idea that came up was with the National Park Service, maybe linking all of the national park sites within the state of Texas and doing a group challenge together that way as well. So you could come up with a partnership, Dustin, maybe you and the Brit and the Wildflower Center could come up with something that's joint with the wildflower centers, our botanical gardens across the state. So really you guys can just be as creative as you want.
Mm-hmm. And working together is a good point. So the other real value that's coming through this tool is that we can see what others are doing, and then we can develop some new partnerships and collaborations and create collections of challenges that are representing multiple organizations or multiple locations. So there's no one particular audience that we're targeting with Nature Challenge, it's all. So some of the examples here are just families, classroom students, teachers, and then Sarah brought up a good example of seniors. But Coastal Bend did challenges that were directed at assisted living facilities and care homes and getting seniors outside and engaged. That's especially important now, as we've seen that they've been really socially isolated due to COVID, and they're needing some resources to help them get back. So I'd be curious to see what kinds of challenges or things we could come up with in this category. So when thinking about what kinds of challenges you can do, what really makes a successful challenge are ones, again, that draw on things we already have. So resources we already have, programs we already have, worksheets, infographics, things like that we already have that we can just build some kind of challenge around, so some kind of activity around that concept. It helps if you make things that are not staff dependent. So in the past, a lot of challenges required, like at a state park, required an interpretive guide to lead them through some kind of activity. And then that was the challenge. Now that we're in this new world and we can't necessarily interact in person, or we have very limited staff, it's a good idea to think about things that can be done independent or individually, not relying on our staff to lead the way. And then things that are designed for a variety of audiences and age groups and ability levels is really going to make them successful as well. So then it comes to badges. The public can collect these digital badges for participating in the challenges. When you submit your challenge through the survey format, if you have a badge already created or a badge in mind, we'll ask that then and you can upload it. Because when people submit their form to say I've completed in this many, or maybe they're oriented by themes or whatever it might be, they can mark those and then that gets sent to us, we'll verify, and then we send them these badges in their email. So another thing we can do with that is badge collections. For the Forest Service challenges, I'm not going to create a badge for every single activity we're putting on challenge. I'm going to create a collection. So like the Forest Ambassador badge, if you've completed 10 forest challenges and you can show us the proof of the things you've made or the picture of you doing the challenge or something like that, then we'll send you that Forest Ambassador badge. That's just an example. There could be other things that are specific to events or other topics like pollinators or energy conservation or whatever it might be. And then if your organization has incentives, that's something that we can look at as well, because I'm imagining that this would be very successful into the future if participants of Nature Challenge could potentially receive like discounted admission for entry into a place if they're participating in this Nature Challenge platform.
I do want to let you guys know that it's not a requirement. Yeah,
not at all.
So don't feel like you can't participate because you can't offer a discounted admission. I know that all of us right now are just trying to get people in the door, or just so don't worry about that if that's not possible for you all.
Yes, and if there is a fee for entry into your location, we'll mark that in the survey as well so that it appears on the map. If somebody clicks on the challenge, there'll be a designation there that it is a fee to entry. So they know ahead of time that they're going to have to pay to get in to participate in those. So the other value for us in participating and for partners is that we can track all of those submissions and requests for badges to know who's participating in what. So we can see how many people are participating in certain challenges and then share all of that information with our partners and providers that are proposing those challenges or making them available. All of this information will also then be fed into a public dashboard that can be accessed by anyone. So if you're needing analytics or metrics or wanting to know how successful this is, how many people access the site today, that kind of thing, you'll find that on the dashboard, which will be available through the Nature Challenge site as well. So really getting into what's in it for you guys. It is free, 100% free to use, free to you, free to the public, free to everybody. It gives you a great place to market and promote your existing events and materials and programs or fun things you have coming up, new ideas. It provides that data through the tracking dashboard. It's a collaborative tool for us to see what's going on around us, maybe make us aware of partners or programs or initiatives that we So our timeline for this, we're still developing in the Forest Service right now. We are working on that through the end of December, and then we're working on that through mid-December and then testing through the end of December. The survey for providers to submit their challenge proposals will be active on January 1st, and we'll be sending out additional information coming up in the next several weeks here, letting you guys know how to get more information, what makes a good challenge, any of the questions you might have, as well as the link to that survey on Survey 123. And then the site itself will launch on January 15th and be active to the public to start earning their badges for completion. So this Nature Challenge launch is part of a larger project that we're calling Nature Challenge 2.0. It's going to have a lot of great functionality around collaborative tools and profiles to log in, profiles for provider pages where you, the public can learn more about your organization, as well as profile opportunities for the public to create their own pages and then track digitally all of the badges that they're collecting in their account. So this first launch in January is what we're calling Nature Challenge Lite. It has some of this functionality, but not all of it, as some of it does take quite a bit of time to develop. Coming in summer 2021, some of that additional functionality will come online, and we're going to begin discussing these new opportunities with the partner network. And then in fall 2021 is when we're looking at actually developing the new Nature Challenge 2.0, using some of what we've created for this January launch and then going to that next step. 2022 will again be more conversations about new partner profiles and the new kinds of network and the resources that are available on the site. And then we're looking at launching in fall of 2022, the new Nature Challenge 2.0. So stay tuned. I'll provide some information pages, Q&A, different resources that we've figured out throughout the day of questions that people have had or things that they'd like to know more about, what makes a good challenge, how to take existing ideas and turn it into a challenge, that kind of thing. And all of that will be available pretty soon here on the Texas A&M Forest Service website, as well as Texas Children in Nature website. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time. I also have our contact information here, and I'll make sure these slides are available to you afterward as well, so you can look back on any of this if you wanted to review anything.
I think one thing, and JC, my feed cut out, so maybe you said it and I didn't hear it, but if the January 1st opening and then launching the site on January 15th doesn't mean that you won't be able to go in and add challenges later. And so if you come up with an idea in February or April, you can definitely still put those in. And so don't panic if you don't have anything up by January 15th that you wouldn't be involved. It's always open and you can always add things.
Yes, exactly. And I hadn't said that, so thank you, Sarah. This is live and flexible and active all the time. So if you come up with challenge ideas, we'll submit the survey and it'll show up on the map once we approve it. It does go live January 1st, but there is no deadline. And you can have events that do have deadlines or challenges that are, sorry, let me back up. Challenges that are related to events that have a specific time frame or a specific deadline. And that will just be one of the questions you fill out in the survey so that we know that there's an end date to when that challenge can fall off the map.
I had a question. When are you sending out the information to the school districts?
So to the school districts, for the social media toolkits, that's what's being sent out monthly to school districts now. So we're going to continue doing that monthly. I don't have a specific plan for the promotion of Nature Challenge itself on to school districts other than using the toolkit for that distribution. Sarah, do you have any ideas there?
Sorry, I was answering a question in the chat. Can you repeat it?
It's okay. Here, I'll rephrase the question now that Jason said that. Is there anything you can send out that could be shared among PTAs? So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. And so one of the things that is on mine and JC's and Christy's next steps is creating an email and a information sheet that we can send out, and we'll send it out to our partners, but we can definitely also work on creating something that would go out to PTAs and schools that would have
even just like a fact sheet that I can, and I'm happy to help you with that, because it's great you're saying it to school districts, but that's going to get lost in the shuffle. And I think on an individual school basis, even if you went through the Council of PTAs through the state, they could help distribute it that way. But I mean, I could do it for a PTA, but yeah, it would be, that'd be a great way to get to the kiddos.
Yeah, that's great. We are, Christy and I, who isn't able to be on the call today, but she and I had a call this morning, really brainstorming some creative ideas to do reach out. And so this is a great one, and I'll add it to our list.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You guys have any other questions? Or now's a good time too. If you have challenge ideas or want to do any brainstorming, we can do that now as well.
Oh yeah, so Dustin said TASA and TASB would be willing to share it out.
That's great. Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah, I would think, of course, TAE, ISEA, all those will, of course.
Yeah.
I am so excited that it's all like digital, like we're not back in the day. I know that's why I think a lot of stuff was tapering off. So JC, this is amazing. Y'all done a great job. This is exciting. I think with the technology added, that's going to get all those kids who like this will still want to do it, because they can, map and track, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and with that tracking too, we really want that social media aspect where people are posting on social media, and we're going to be tracking those hashtags. And so it will be something that we will also make available to our partners. And so back to that tracking, that the tracking tool is available to you all. Any photos that are taken and put in with their badge submissions and stuff, we'll make available to those partner sites as well, so that you guys will have you might find a photo that you want to use for something. And so we're going to make that available to you guys too.
Great. Does anybody have any other questions? All right. Thank you, JC. Thank you, Sarah. Exciting stuff. And thanks for planning ahead. I was waiting to we'd have to submit it yesterday. And it's like, oh gosh, we have time.
We have plenty of time, and it is flexible in the future. So even if you don't have anything by January, that's totally okay. You can submit a form in April and then have a challenge coming up for the summertime or in the late spring. That's totally fine too.
Great. All right, Sarah, what other updates do you have? I listed some stuff from last time, but you may have others.
I don't have any updates on the Bassmasters Classic. I think they are on hold right now before giving any more updates because COVID. And so I don't have any updates for that. As soon as I know more, I will definitely be letting you guys know. Upcoming virtual events. So we do have a few really exciting events coming up. I'll put a link in the chat to our events page for TCIN, but some big things that we have coming up on December 2nd, we will have our next virtual summit workshop, and that is with a high school student from y'all's area. He's going to be doing a workshop on birding in the barrio, and he started a birding club at his high school, and so he's going to be presenting. And then we will have in January a professor from Texas State who is in the social work department, is going to be presenting on the work she's been doing with public housing and getting children who live in public housing developments out into nature, and some studies that she's been doing on the effects of nature on their mental health. And so that one will be really good. And then also in January, we'll have our next teacher workshop. These have been really well attended and really well received from our teachers. We are doing workshops on how to take your class outside. And so if any of y'all are interested in presenting at any of our teacher workshops, our January one is probably full at this point for partners. So, but if anyone else wants to present, we can look at putting another one on the calendar. We've got one for February and one for March, but April is still open. So we can talk about putting another workshop together and letting you guys present. And the really nice thing for you guys is you're able to present to teachers, get that information out, but not have to do the back end work of getting people registered or tracking all of that stuff for the workshops. Dustin, I asked how many people have been registering. So our August one had 100 registrants. Our workshop this past Saturday had 50. And we had half of those teachers show up, which I feel like for a Zoom event on a Saturday, we were doing really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's are some of our upcoming links.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I know Cheryl's on. Do you have any updates on Olay?
Sure. We had our first landscape design training workshop at the end of September. They're still working with Texas Tech to finalize that because it was Texas Tech's first virtual training. So, all the bumps that you might expect happened. So they're finalizing that training and should have a drawing for Greg Head Start here in Fort Worth, and we'll have our first official demonstration site. I think Greg hopes to implement the new Olay for them in the summer because they're on Fort Worth ISD schedule, so the school will be empty and they'll be able to do work on the playground over the summer. And I think we're almost, with fundraising, I think we're almost ready to start phase 1 of Nature Play at Britt. Yay!
Yay!
That's so exciting.
And then Cheryl's saying, we've been talking about this forever. No.
Forever. It's all good. It's happening. It's slow and I am patient.
So what is the Olay at Britt exactly?
Okay, yeah. Yes, let me get in on that. So Olay in North Texas is our local coalition, but it's part of the Greater Statewide Initiative, which is an OLE being outdoor learning environment.
That's what we called my garden at school, was the Olay.
Yes. So in Texas, naturally, it becomes Olay. The statewide initiative is focused on outdoor learning environments that serve children ages 0 to 5. And it's now out of the Department of State and Health Services. They're who manage that grant and the initiative. And it began as looking at obesity rates in early childhood and deciding that there needed to be a change and connecting that with outdoor activity. And so the idea is to implement, there's 12 best practice indicators, and it involves looping pathways and loose parts play and edible fruiting species incorporated into the playground and gardening, so that you're looking at food sources and natural design elements that encourage more movement, without really like telling kids to go move more. They just naturally do it with these design elements. All humans do. So We're looking at training designers, which they go through a training through NLI, the Natural Learning Initiative. That's coming out of North Carolina State. And then they go through their final training with Texas Tech, who has been trained to do that capstone piece by NLI.
So who gets the gardens? I mean, who gets the outdoor learning environments? Public schools, private schools, pay for it people? All of the
Anyone.
above?
So all of the above. It's do you have a budget for it? Now for a workshop, we usually look for a school that's in need, and that's the training event. But anyone interested, we're here to connect with grants or plants or designers. It's what are you looking for? So as the coalition, Brit is the hub, and we're that connection piece. So we're here
So
to
are
connect
they
schools.
connected to Real School Gardens because they serve preschools, public schools serve preschool kids? Are they connected to Real School Gardens that already have outdoor learning environments?
They
Is
are
it-
not. Real School Gardens is now out teach.
Yes, that's right.
they're
Outteach, I
actually
forget.
they sit their feet are on my head. They're the office directly above me.
Right.
And to my knowledge, I was their designer, Lanny, was going through this process so that they could have that Olay go for their designer, but optional development and are easing out of Olay design, outdoor learning environment design.
Oh, Outteaches.
Yes.
They're not doing gardens.
Nope.
I need to check their website. That's where I got my garden from.
Yeah, it's been a while. Their changes were fairly recent, and I remember, I reached out because Lanny was in the process of going through the NLI course. And when I reached out, they told me that she was no longer there. And to my knowledge, they have not replaced anyone on their design team, at least not here at the North Texas location. Now, that could correlate with COVID right now, but I'm not sure. I think that they are just moving toward.
I haven't looked at
professional
look at their website. I assumed they were still doing what they always have done, but I don't know.
All right. All right, Cheryl, thank you for that update and description.
Yay!
Yay!
Contact me if you're interested. That's basically it.
Yes. Thank you. So, cities connecting children to nature. I'm a little right now. Our mayor just tested positive for COVID today.
Our mayor did?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Her husband had it. She now has it. Hello. Anyway.
Jeez.
So I don't know. Sarah, I'm really curious to see what happens with cities connecting, because cities have a lot more on their plate right now than this. So I'm getting a little, hesitant.
Yeah, Monica and I had a long talk about it yesterday, about the RFP. And one thing that they are also going to be doing is you could apply just to be part of a particular strategy. So if Fort Worth wanted to do something with green schoolyards, and that one will open up first, is green schoolyards, but then also Cheryl, looping in Olay, I think would be a great project as well, because they have the early childhood strand.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also a possibility. Monica and I are working on a workshop as well that'll happen in February for any of the cities that are interested in applying. So it's kind of a lessons learned workshop with the 3 cities who are already CCCN cities.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so you'll be able to kind of hear from them what they've learned through the process to make your application stronger.
So
maybe you, me, and Cheryl should get together.
Yeah.
To kind of strategize. Okay.
our pollinator ambassador committee is kind of floating, I think, because our leader left the Botanic Gardens. Gail Manning retired.
Oh,
So,
did she finally? I need to
yes.
reach out to her.
So I don't know exactly. We still have our Facebook page, but I don't know where we stand as for, I mean, she made us a champion city because she did all the legwork to find all the I's and T's that she needed to dot and cross to make us a champion city. So I hope that somehow we get that picked up, and I don't know who's in charge of the pollinator committees statewide now. Do any of you guys know? I'm assuming you were talking about Monica Markle in San Antonio, correct?
No, our San Antonio lead is Kelsey Schertzel. She's with Parks and Rec with the city of San Antonio.
Okay. Yeah, I've worked with them or been to their workshops, and Monica, we've been trying to get, she finally did a program for our chapter down there. So I know the San Antonio is a great model to follow. Anything that they can do.
Yeah, the Monica that I was referring to is Monica Lopez McGee. She works for the She works for Children and Nature Network, leading the Cities Connecting Children to Nature initiative, which is a partnership between the Children and Nature Network and the National League of Cities.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so what CCCN
different Monica.
Yep, no worries.
You knew who I was talking about, though.
Yeah, yeah. So the CCCN project is an initiative where a city will makes a pledge to really think about nature and getting kids out in nature with their infrastructure within their cities. And so we have 3 CCCN cities currently in Texas, which is the most of any state in the country. The only other state that has more than one is Minnesota. They have St. Paul and Minneapolis.
So which are ours then? San Antonio and where?
San Antonio, Austin, and Houston.
So we're not in it. Okay. So a question, and I don't know if they're involved, but what about Tarrant Regional Water District? Are they involved with the Texas Children of Nature at all?
Not that I know of. I don't think they're on our list, Haley.
No,
because go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Jordan.
Because we have a Tarrant Regional Water District member on the pollinator ambassadors, and they have events that could qualify and go along with Texas Children of Nature stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, besides the trash pickups that they do twice a year, they have other events throughout the year. So
yeah, I'll make sure. I think they may be on it. We're about to get into our partner list for North Texas. So I have a strong contact there. So a couple of them. So we'll see if
we might reach out to the guy that's on our committee. I'd have to look up and see what his name is. If I saw it, I'd probably recognize it, but our committee has not met in quite a while.
Okay, so we'll get into this, and this may answer some of your questions, Joanne. So Dustin, you wanted to talk about engaging former staff members.
Yeah, just given all the changes we've seen in 2020, we had a conversation around making sure that people who are either no longer with our staffs or in those institutions that have begun hiring in new staff, for all of us to think about those connections that we have, and whether it's forwarding on the next meeting invite to them or share that information with Haley, so that we can keep our list updated. In a normal year, it's always changing, but especially in 2020.
Exactly. And so one thing I want to do, and I know Sarah's going to laugh, there is a method to my madness with this list. I promise you, Sarah.
Well, I was going to say too, our quarterly newsletter will go out at the end of this month. And something I started doing with our last quarterly newsletter, which I will continue with this one, is any job postings that have been sent to me, I'm putting in the newsletter. So please feel free to forward that along as well. To any former staff who may still be looking. That's a great way for them to see maybe some jobs within the field that are open.
Great. So thanks, Charles. Saw your comment. I'm definitely going to write her name down. So what I've been doing is we had a lengthy list that Sarah had was, inherited to her. And so I've cleaned it all based on all the email returns we're getting and all of that. So this is our strong list. This is the one we're emailing from. People who've asked to be removed. There's our list of counties because Sarah had asked for that information. Then we have returned emails, but then we have about 40 here who were on the list, but we've taken off the list because we no longer have contacts for them. So what I'd like to do is email out this list to everyone and just see as of when I send out a follow-up for this meeting, because we're recording it. Thank you, Sarah. I'll send this out and y'all can help us plug in any contacts at these organizations or any that you see that aren't here that you think should be. And so that kind of goes to Dustin's point that we could be sure we're and as Dustin said, I just send me names, and it's best to have address, not so important, but their name, who they're associated with, and their email. Addresses are great too, because if that's easy, just because sometimes Sarah does, we do a mailing on a statewide, but most importantly is email, name, and who they're associated with. So that's kind of what I'm working on, and I'll send out to everyone so y'all can see it and see who else you'd like to get involved. So I hope y'all wouldn't mind helping with that. So the other thing, and I know we're running out of time, but at least we have a few minutes here, is I kind of wanted, and I want to do this more often, but I'm open to everybody's ideas and opinions, but I think it's getting harder and harder to find time to network, so to speak, and to really just get together as a group to talk about, hey, I'm in Fort Worth and I need a partner. I'm looking for a partner for this type of program or project. Also, if you have a program that you're trying to get off the ground or have some ideas, it would like feedback from some of us who may have already done it. And then any questions you want to throw out to the group. And so I wanted to kind of end the meetings this way. We can always move it up. And I know we're getting into the holiday season, so our brains are probably not there right now. But I wanted to open it up. So if anybody has any, questions for the group, any feedback you need on something, or a partner.
So just a quick news update for the Native Prairies Association. We have a big campaign to raise funds to get a full-time staff member in North Texas, which would include, they will be wearing many hats, restoration, conservation, education about prairies. So that person will be helping our chapters in Dallas and Fort Worth, which we have 2 strong chapters here, to do more events for education. So if you have social media and can connect to us, our pages, there's the Fort Worth chapter of the Native Prairies Association and the Dallas chapter, either personally or with your groups as well, because we conserve over 5,000 acres, no, almost 5,000 acres of Texas prairie across the state. And we're looking to get some in Texas, in North Texas, before North Texas becomes one solid piece of concrete, which it's getting there anyway. So we feel the need to try to find some more land to save. So that's what's going on in our neck of the woods.
Great.
What was that social media handle again?
It's the Fort Worth chapter of the Native Prairies Association. And then we have a Dallas chapter, a San Antonio chapter, a Houston chapter. We just have a new one coming up. I don't think they have a Facebook group yet. Fayette chapter, which is the only city I noticed that was in there was LaGrange, because I knew LaGrange was famous for. It's in that area. And then Houston, San Diego. We also have some people in the Austin area, but then we have a state webpage, state Facebook page as well. And oh my God, I can't believe I didn't say this. Is anybody here a public school teacher? Anybody here that on? There's no public school teachers?
No, not today.
Okay, so Haley, we should send the link out for our YouTube page, because our education coordinator that works at Deer Park Prairie down in Houston has made several wonderful videos that are like virtual field trips on our Deer Park Prairie down in Houston.
Oh,
So they
cool. Yeah, send me the
pollinators
link.
and
Yeah.
so I'll send you that so you can get out to anybody who can use it for whatever reason. They're really
Great.
good.
Thank you. Oh, JC, I love seeing your dog popping in and out. It's awesome. It making me laugh. So
He's
cute.
living on the couch, so like the background goes fuzzy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just guys, it's a little head. All right. Anybody else have anything?
This is Michael at Cleveland. I'm sorry I was late. I had to close the store today. I wouldn't mind chatting with the Prairie Land Restoration folks. I don't know what constitutes Prairie Land for y'all, with how you define that, how large it has to be, how close to Fort Worth or whatever. But Cleveland State Park is just beginning a Prairie Land restoration in all of their open areas here. A lot of it's overrun with Johnson grass, and we just are in the first steps of putting together a plan for managing that. So, do you have advice or?
Michael, what are you with? Do I know you?
Probably not, but I'm the superintendent of Cleveland State Park.
Oh, okay. So which state park?
Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland State Park. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I remember sitting outside and admiring some of that prairie that's kind of tucked in there in Cleveland. Our chapter is the closest chapter to you, but we do have some resources. Are you working there at the state park for restoration?
Yes. So far,
Okay.
the major problem, of course, is Johnson grass here. And our intention is to, once a year, cut it all back. And then as the Johnson grass comes up, use a wicking device to chemically treat the Johnson grass.
Right.
The grasses that we want are here. We
Right.
just need to get rid of the Johnson grass.
Get rid of Johnson grass. Yeah, that and bastard cabbage.
Yes.
So, for sure. Well, do we have our emails anywhere? I can I'll just put my email up here.
Yeah,
and
there we go. Just put
You can send it to me.
Great.
Whatever questions. Oops, except that's going to Sarah Coles privately. Maybe I need to do everyone.
One thing for those in Fort Worth, I don't know if you saw that, the city has launched a new open space plan, open spaces plan. They have a survey right now. I'm serving on the stakeholder committee as TCIN and the Friends of the Fort Worth Nature Center. But they have a survey out now, if you haven't seen the link, for you to kind of, answer some questions, but then you identify properties in the city that you would like to see protected, preserved.
And thank you, Haley, for wearing that hat.
Oh, please, it's not.
You know the area much better than I do, so.
That's right.
We're hoping that the city will be one of our partner possibilities in the Austin area is the city parks department. So we're hoping that will be a good partnership if we find any land that can be saved prairie wise, because basically the Fort Worth, I'm very, very proud of. If you have not ever been to the community Chisholm Trail Community Park that's on the southwest side of town, you need to come see it. It's the best introduction to prairies for anybody around, because the city intentionally left a prairie and they built a 2-mile walking path around it. And they've had to deal with, I've seen a rattlesnake and all kinds of things, but it's still there and it looks beautiful, and it's slowly people are getting it. So it's a really cool thing.
$16 million to purchase land and to create new parks. So that's why that survey is real important, Joanne. So y'all can identify your areas. You can even fill out the survey as the society, so you have it. But
is that coming out, or is that the initial? Because I did a survey once on what kind of land.
It was just recent for open space.
I'll have to talk to Michelle about that, because I don't know for sure if I've seen that particular one.
All right. Does anybody have anything else?
Oh, we do have, this might be of interest to you, Michael. Not that we have one planned right now, but the Fort Worth chapter does a Prairie Seekers workshop where we train people to find and spot high quality prairie. So if you've got people that are interested in that, we should have another training coming up in the next year. Who knows what's going to happen with COVID, but we just did one in the fall. So at least we'll have at least one of those next year. So be watching for that. Thanks.
Okay, if there's a mailing list, by all means, put me on it. I'd love to connect with you.
Great.
I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying, but send me an email. You're coming in kind of muffled on my computer.
Great. All right. Anything else? Anybody have? So everyone should have, gotten the link for these Zoom meetings. It should have populated all your accounts. We're meeting every other month. So we're not meeting next month, but we will be meeting on the 20th of January at 4:30, right back here.
And if you registered, which all of you did, if you are here, you are automatically registered for the January meeting. You don't need to register again. So you should be all set.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
I'm going to send you the link for the YouTube thing.
Perfect. Yeah, and when,
I'll do that right
when
now.
Sarah sends me the recording link, I'll send all this stuff out to you guys to look at. All right. Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving. Everyone stay safe and healthy.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. You too, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all.